Dan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can indeed. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much for doing this, Dick. I can't thank you enough. This is a real treat.
Your name is Lindsay Simpson.
That is correct.
Is that a stage name or is that your real name?
That is my real name. I'm named after Lindsay Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, he's American.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not a very common American name.
No, I suppose it's not. From what I know, is Lindsay is more of a Scottish traditional man's name in terms of the UK, but it kind of got hijacked as like a woman's name a bit later on. So I ended up somehow, just because of Lindsay Buckingham, I've somehow ended up with what's commonly known as a woman's name.
Well, not over there.
No, not as much. In the UK, it's still a woman's name. Most people get really confused by it.
Right, but you don't. Yeah, as long as you don't come to America, I think you'll be fine. And you can't come to America with your accent. You wouldn't cut it here. No.
Is that actually true?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're in Hull, right? I'm picking up the Hull-based accent.
Yeah, that's right. That's amazing that you know that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. No, maybe you do all right over here. I mean, yeah, what they say is that if you come over here with any sort of accent, then you become the other. And then girls are automatically interested in you.
Oh, right. Okay. So the British accent's a good thing to women over there.
Yeah. You become exotic.
Right. Okay. I suppose it's the same the other way around then, isn't it?
Sure. Like whenever we go to Coventry, I have to have a security guard because they've never heard anything so exotic.
You actually have a security guard when you
just in Coventry.
Why Coventry specifically?
Because they've never heard of America, or they never met Americans before. So
they never met Americans before. Do you find then when you come and tour in the UK that the British people are like kind of perplexed by you and your presence? Because I mean, I've seen you perform. I actually supported you in the Adelphi. I think it was about 5, 6. COVID's thrown it all for me now, so I can't remember anything about timescales anymore. But I definitely supported you at the Adelphi, and that's where I ended up picking up one of your albums, and also then buying a pornographic novel from you when you did them on.
You weren't the young man who walked me back to my hotel, were you?
I hope not.
Okay, yeah. I remember a nice young man walking me back to the hotel. I felt like a pensioner bird, just like a nice young man walking me back. But yeah, I had an escort. It was great.
That's amazing.
I remember that show, of course. Yeah, that the Adelphi was a lot of fun. What was the question?
So it was just like, when you come to the UK, do you find that people are more perplexed by your presence, and because of your Americanism? Because obviously there's so many weird divides between British and American culture. When you guys come here and perform,
I mean, we've been coming over there for so long now, but to this day, people still expect us to be British. Even here, like people, they hear our music and they think that we must be a British band or something. So. People get surprised over all kinds of things, and we just roll with it. But as far as I mean, we're going on 20 years of touring the UK now, and
wow.
To us, it's very much second nature. Even having a year off from COVID, I mean, once we finally came back there after a year, nothing much had changed.
Right? No, fair. It's just such an interesting difference. I mean, obviously, the part of the podcast as well that we do isn't just interviewing musicians. We also ask questions about food, because we cook food and put live music on with it. So I think, like, when you're thinking of like food in England and America, there's obviously such a vast difference again in how you guys treat and eat food compared to us. I mean, you yourself like suggest that you want to eat a complete stranger. So like, how do you find British food compared to American when you're here?
Again, I think it gets a bad rap. I mean, I think I always really look forward to going over there for the food, and I think your kind of chain restaurants are really a step above ours. If you compare Wagamama and Nando's and like Pizza Express to like what we have over here, like Applebee's, Olive Garden, you guys win hands down. You guys win.
I've never been to an Olive Garden, but you're right. Actually, my experience is like I've done like Ponderosas and. Like those sort of awful chain buffet places where you pay $8 for a steak and you get the unlimited buffet.
Oh yeah, so we haven't the whole time we've toured America, which is also 20 years, we've never gone to a Ponderosa. it's much Chipotle's are they're pretty standard, and they always get the job done. And there's a Chipotle in every town.
Yeah.
Panera Bread gets the job done. We kind of pre-COVID we would go to Cracker Barrel a lot, but we try to go for the outdoor seating, and Cracker Barrel don't work that way.
Right. Oh, right. Okay. I know
Yeah,
Cracker Barrel's associated with old people, from what I can tell.
it's
Even
a
chicken
lot
fried
of
steak.
there's a lot of associations. I mean, it's really good food, but yeah, it's kind of down south kind of vibe. I mean, it's based, I think, in Georgia or Tennessee. It is down home cooking. It's really good. We actually spent a Thanksgiving there on tour. We were in, I believe, Valdosta, Georgia, and like had the off night of Thanksgiving, and it was a great Thanksgiving meal. It was like $8.99, and it was good. And
Yeah.
I recommend it. But we haven't been back since COVID.
If you were to if you were to say that you had a signature dish that you absolutely love and would love to see on a menu, say it was called the Dick Valentine special, what would it be?
Oh, I like to make bowls. I like to take a bowl and just, I like to throw in rice or potatoes and then some meat and then some vegetables, sauce, and I think, so I don't know what those precisely it has to be but that I just like throwing a bunch of shit in a bowl and having it work out somehow.
In that, I think it's a recent phenomenon that I've seen on the internet called a garbage plate. Is it similar to that?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've been making those my whole life, especially when I was at university. I mean, I would get like I would get like turkey burger, and then I would get frozen peas, and then I would get the powdered mashed potatoes, not real potatoes, but like the mashed potato flakes, and then add some milk. And that, I would just make like a potato base, and then put on the ground turkey, and then the frozen peas, and then I would pour ranch dressing all over it, and that was my dinner.
Whoa, that sounds amazing. When I was living in London trying to make it as a musician at first, I remember once I went through a phase where I'd just get frozen fish fillets and frozen Tesco value chips, and I'd eat fish and chips 4 nights a week. And then on a Friday, I'd get a pizza deal and like mash up Monster Munch crisps onto it or something weird just to get me through.
I'm gonna back up that. Did you feel like you moved to London because you felt like that was your best shot at having success as opposed to just staying in Kingston upon?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I sympathize with that, and it's funny. Like, we were, in Detroit, like we were tempted to do the same thing, maybe move to LA or something like that. But then we were fortunate that our music scene actually, like, just staying right where we were at, like, ended up working out really well for us. But yeah, I mean, it's tough when you feel that way. I think it's cooler to just stay in your. I mean, you can do it now with computers and home recording and stuff. You don't need to move to London or Abu Dhabi to get things done.
No, I know, and I'm only just realizing that myself now after a lot of years of moving around the UK, trying to like infiltrate various different little scenes. I spent some time in Liverpool and then in London and a bit in Manchester, and you're right, you don't have to necessarily leave anymore.
Yeah, you don't. So now you're interested in music and food. That's basically what gets you out of bed in the morning?
Exactly. I've been a musician now since birth, pretty much, and the
You've
whole
been
scene.
eating since birth as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Both things come hand in hand.
It's true. Yeah, no, it's to me, where you eat and the meals that you've had on tour. Well, not you. I don't know how much touring you've done, but I should say those are the fond memories I have because we don't really do the sex or the drugs so much. So the food is really what gets us going. And it's interesting that I'm not like this. I'm very much a if I have a bad meal, I'm pretty good at like turning the page and saying, well, that's fine. Well, the next one will be better. We'll get them next time. But I've had bandmates that lose their shit if the meal isn't exactly the way they want it to be. And
it's an odd concept to me as well.
Yeah, it can cut both ways.
Yeah, so I just back to what you said a minute ago about university. You went to Yale? That's right.
Sure. Let's say Yale. I would love.
I mean, he said
I went to university. I went to University of Michigan.
Ball retrieval graduate from Yale is what I've got from your Facebook. So
did I put that up there? That's cool that I did that. No, I went to University of Michigan.
Oh right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, what did you study in Michigan?
I did English language and literature.
Oh wow! So, did you read a lot then?
I did back then. I don't really. I don't really read anymore other than the internet, and I don't really listen to music anymore. And like those are things I did in my like early 20s, and I did it a lot, like. But then just kind of got to a point where I'm not really interested in reading books. I'm not really interested in listening to music.
Right. No, fair enough. I mean, but do you still write then? Are you still writing right now?
Yeah, I write both. That's the thing. I write. I use the time that I would be ingesting music or literature, and I create my own during that time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So fair. No, fair enough. Can I just ask you a quick question about Electric Six?
We have 20 more minutes. You can ask me whatever. Yeah, and all the cards are on the table.
Oh, amazing. Right. Okay. Fair enough then. So, I mean, Electric Six. Quick question: have you ever actually played in a gay bar?
We've played gay festivals. As far as a gay bar, I think like an actual bar. I think there've been negotiations. There've been attempts.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, but yeah, a couple of festivals like LGBTQ festivals. But
oh, right. Okay.
But as far there've been attempts. I don't know why it didn't work out. But as far as like an actual gay bar, not too sure. I mean, I've been to gay bars. I've never, but as far as the band, I'm not sure.
No, fair enough. I just thought it might be an interesting idea to have actually seen you guys playing that song in that setting. I just wondered if it had ever actually happened.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's there have been attempts for sure.
Right, fair. So just another quick question relating to that. The one that's obviously your song. You must get fed up of hearing questions about that song. But I just wondered if you have like a twist on the lyrics if you was to sing about taking them to a straight bar.
I haven't thought about that for a while. Yeah, I mean that song, I do like it. I'm proud of it. But I also wrote it when I was 24 years old. So
yeah,
it's not something I spent a lot of time thinking about. We have done shows where we didn't do it, and
right.
Can count those on one hand. And those fun. But at this point, I don't mind it. I never mind playing it. It's there's definitely a billion worse problems you could have than having a song that you're recognized for.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I can see that anyway now. Because I mean, I suppose as you get older as a musician, you get well, I know through songs that I wrote when I was younger, I get fed up with like I just don't think about them anymore. It's not that I'm fed up with them. I just don't think anymore. Yeah. So I mean, but obviously now you're doing a lot more solo stuff, and I realised that it's like the 10-year anniversary roughly, isn't it, of Destroy the Children?
Oh yeah. Good point. I came out with Destroy the Children in 2012. I've done, I think, 7 or 8 solo. I mean, that was the great. There's a recording studio at the end of my block, literally, and I've done the last like 4 or 5 solo albums there. And the good thing about like the pandemic of not being on the road is I was able to churn out 2 solo albums. In the course of the last year. So yeah, that's good. But yeah, I've been putting out solo works for close to a decade now.
Right. No, I know. Yeah, exactly. I've seen you play myself. So I kind of want to ask a couple of questions about how you, as a writer, either written or musical, go about like your actual process. I found it really intriguing to try and like pry into the minds of other musicians because it's just so different from musician to musician. So, like, when you start a song, how does the idea come to you?
It can come. I write down phrases and lyrics during the course of the day on my notepad on my iPhone. So those are just always there. And a lot of times, you might have this phrase or this grouping of words, and they don't go together. And then I find a way to fuse them together. And so I have fun doing that. And there's tons of lyrics sitting there, so I can, whenever I'm stuck, I just go back there and I always find something. And then you got the music, that usually just starts with a riff, and I do a lot of writing on acoustic guitar, though I try to dabble in synthesizer work as well. So I'm going to go into the studio in early March, and I've got 6 songs ready to go, and 2 of them are synth based, 4 of them are acoustic guitar based, and you just kind of go from there. And I'm not like a gearhead or I just like going in, hitting record and saying that's good and that's it. And so I'm definitely not a perfectionist about it. And that's the way I like it.
Yeah, that's really relatable actually. That's almost exactly how I work. I've just recently joined the band again, and one of the guys in the band's like a real tech guy, and he loves all of his equipment, and he's brought like full Marshall stacks just for practices and things like that. And I just turn up and just plug into his and just enjoy it.
There's something to be said for that. It's a matter of if that person can chill out or not. that's,
Yeah,
that's the where people obsess about this sound or that mix. That's good if everyone in the band is on that same page, but I've never been on that page, so
yeah.
I just want to get stuff done. I don't really care how good or bad it sounds.
No, I completely relate with that. I mean, just another quick question relating to Hull. You know, how many times have you actually played in Hull? Because I'm not sure.
I mean, between solo shows and the band, I mean, it's got to be at least 10. I would say
Right.
five of each for sure.
Do you have a particularly like outstandingly ridiculous or funny or exciting story about an experience of being in Hull?
No, not really. I mean, I've always loved playing the Adelphi, the acoustic shows there. Yeah, I think one might have been the show you were at. I don't know. There was a table of like four really, really pissed middle-aged men, and one of them like couldn't stand up and trying to like talk to me, and like he was literally, he was just one of those people that like literally couldn't stand up, and it was funny and pathetic at the same time. So I remember that. This is just bands obviously have a billion inside jokes, and
Yeah.
ones. So here in Brooklyn where I live, I was walking down the street and there was a guy on his cell phone, and you could hear him, and he just said the same thing over and over again. He was just like, "I'm going through hell right now. I'm going through hell. I'm going through hell right now. I'm going through hell right now." And so I told everyone in the band about that. Like, so now every time we come to Hull, we're just like, "I'm going through Hull right now. I'm going through Hull. I'm going through Hull. I'm going through Hull right now." So,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
so but you live in Hull. I mean, it's you could do a lot worse, I think, but you could also do better.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is, I'd love. So you live? Where do you live right now? You're living in. You're from. You're living in Detroit, aren't you, right now?
No, I live in Brooklyn, New York.
But, that's right. Yes.
From Detroit. I'm 94 years old, so I've had time to live in lots of places. Oh yeah, and then the fruit venue, man. We've had that was such an exceptional room.
Yeah.
I love and so there was a woman there, like just came up to us, total Little Britain. Like she saw our show, and then she came up to us. She's like, "Do you not know Chippy Brown?" And we're like, "No." So you need to play with Chippy Brown. Yeah,
who's Chippy Brown?
I have no idea, but she was. You need to get on a bill with Chippy Brown.
Well, if there's anybody listening that knows who Chippy Brown is in Hull, please get him in contact.
It was great. We were the whole. We were just like, like Chippy Brown and his guitar player Chesty Cough, and on the bass Leafy Greens, it's like naming his whole thing.
Fruit is a really good venue, actually. Are you actually touring the UK at any point in the coming future?
Well, we are in May, but yeah, we like the place we played recently as well. But yeah, I mean, Hull, it's a very it's a vast. There's lots of places you can play, lots of places we have played. Some dumps, some nicer venues, and it's like anywhere. We like it there.
In terms of venues, then, because obviously one of the big things in the UK, because we're such a small little island and we don't really have any like vast, like you can drive across it from tip to bottom in like 12 hours. A lot of our music ends up centered around festivals where everybody just comes together at like Leeds or
Yep.
V Festival or whatever. I'm just wondering, like, do you have any particular opinions on the differences between the US and the UK music festival scene, and maybe some experiences of UK festivals that you might remember?
We're actually playing two this May. I think one is the Greatest State Festival, and then there's another one. But yeah, festivals are fun. As far as the different, I mean, the ones in the UK, there's a lot more of them, and they seem to be very similar to each other, at least in feel. Whereas the ones in the States, like if you're doing one out west or down south, or in the East Coast, they all kind of feel different and are presented differently. It's they're fun to play, and it's always nice to, when you're doing a festival run, and then mix up some club shows in there, and it's just like a kind of a smorgasbord of touring.
Right, yeah. So do you have a festival in the UK what's the biggest festival that you'd say you'd played, not just in the UK, but I mean ever?
Well, we did the BBC One Big Sunday in 2003, I believe, in Leicester. and
Yeah.
we only played for 15 minutes, but it's thought we played to 100,000 people that day. Not just us,
Whoa.
not it was like Daniel Bedingfield was there, and I think like Girls Aloud or something like that. But
Yeah.
like, it was it was the same crowd for all the acts, and when you play a crowd that big, it does it's no different than playing for 30 people. I'm more nervous playing for 30 people because they're right there, and
Yeah.
they can call you a cunt and you're gonna hear it, whereas like if you played 100,000 people, you're just gonna hear.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been bottled or anything? Or
Bottled. I don't think so. I've had I've had a cup of beer thrown in my face. I've been very, very lucky.
yeah.
Yeah, that I've kind of walked off stage unscathed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had in Wyoming. The only time we ever played Wyoming, I had a guy try to throw me into our bass drum, and that's about it. I mean,
What? How did that? How did that occur?
What was amazing about that? Well, he was just on stage, and I was trying to get him off stage, and there was actually a stage security guard, and the guy was just standing there, just letting it happen. I was motioning like, get this guy off stage, and the guy was just like, I think it was his friend who came on stage, so he didn't want to be involved. So I'm trying to get this guy off stage, and then the guy's like twice my size, and he just picks me up and throws me into the bass drum. I'm like,
you didn't go through it though.
no, I don't think so. I mean, it's Wyoming. It's good old boys. I don't know. They just like wrestling up some people and see what happens.
That's amazing.
Yep.
And you mentioned earlier that obviously you were going in to record some new songs. Did you say any of them were on acoustic?
Oh, yeah. Some are. I mean, I do a lot of my writing on acoustic, and then I'll probably a few of them will turn into electric guitar based stuff. Again, I'm not really going to know exactly how it's going to sound until I do it. I don't do all meticulous planning and things like that. I know what my acoustic guitar is, but when I go into the studio, I don't bring my own guitars. I just use whatever they have for me.
Right.
People are like, "What microphone did you sing in?" I was like, "I don't know. There's a wire. It was plugged in." I mean, I'm not a gearhead at all. If I go into a studio like that, I just trust that they're gonna have good stuff for me to use, and that's basically it.
And so, I mean, I'm just going to be bold and just ask this. Absolutely no worries. If not, is there any chance of like a snippet of anything now?
The new no, because I'm still like I have 3 weeks to kind of finish it, and I'm still kind of writing and so forth. So yeah. No, yeah, I don't have any recorded, nor could I play it for you right now.
No worries at all. I just thought I'd ask. I thought you never know. I thought I might be able to
Never know. Yeah, but I hear Chippy Brown's working on some new stuff, so you can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right. So I think really, Dick. I think I'm gonna probably call it there because I think we're nearly running out of time, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, do you have any more food questions for me? I mean,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No,
I'm really heavy on the music. Yeah. I want to talk about food. So,
like, do you pair when you're eating food? Do you pair it with any alcohol in particular, or is there like a special do you have like a go-to drink that goes with each food, or do you just have a beer with everything?
No, I don't. I try to have wine with everything. I'm not as much of a beer drinker.
Okay.
I do love going to a nice restaurant and getting the wine pairing. You can just, you get shit faced if you do that. Like if you do a 7-course meal with a wine pairing, I mean, you're fucked at the end, and it's great. It's thing is, those things, they're very expensive. So they pour the wine very liberally because they've already got your money. And if you can't think anymore, in our country at least, you're probably going to tip a lot more than you would have, because you just don't care anymore. So that's the way that works. And you walk out of those places like 5-star restaurants, just unable to speak, unable to feel your face, and it's fantastic.
Do you have any experiences of like dining with other celebrities?
Dining. That's a great question. Well, it's I'm not going to go into all the details, but our friend Jack White, the last time I saw him was actually at a restaurant in 2005. We were invited by a couple local musicians to come out to dinner, and like unbeknownst to us, that like one of the reasons they invited us because they didn't have money or something. Like, so I think in retrospect, I think they were like hoping we were going to pick up the bill, me and Tate. But as luck would have it, Jack was there with a friend, and he came and joined us. And then like when the bill came, those guys were like, "We don't have any money." Jack was like, "I'll get it." I was like, "Wow!" Like, like afterwards, I was like, "Wait, that's really nice." And I was like, "Wait a minute, like if he hadn't been there, like, well, how we were going to settle that?" I was like, "Oh, so I don't know." But that's the last time I saw him, and yeah. So that I knew him before he was famous, but as far as like famous people, I guess it would be him. Otherwise, I've never really dined with anyone.
Oh, it'd be amazing to have a chat with him. I can only imagine what. Yeah. Did he have guac with the meal? Because I read recently that one of his famous riders is that he likes this really specific guacamole that's like chopped specifically. Did he?
It was an Italian. Yeah, it was an Italian restaurant in Detroit. So I believe we just. I seem to remember I had rigatoni. I don't know what he had, but it was a good chat. He had just. It was striking to me like how big and like his life must have been. I think it was like 2005, 2006. And he just come from playing a festival in Japan, and I was just making small talk. I was like, how was Japan? And he was like, Japan. And his friend was just like, it's like you were just there. You didn't like it. He's like, oh yeah. No, it was good. Like, how do you forget? How do you forget being in Japan? Like,
that's amazing.
Where are you at in life right now? So that was I suppose. I want to be. That's where I want to be.
Do you have like a go-to rider then? Like he has his weird guacamole. Do you have anything?
No. We used to be heavy on the hummus on our riders, but now. And this is over time where, obviously when we first started touring, everybody drank. Some people did drugs, and we'd have classic riders with, 14 cases of beer and vodka and this, that. And, but now as we're getting older and people have stopped drinking and we're much more rated G band. What we do is we just take the hospitality money and just divvy it up, and everyone just goes and gets their own thing. So we will walk into a dressing room. There'll be nothing there but water, So it's water and 500 quid for us to divvy up or whatever. So it's like,
right. Yeah. I know, my experiences with Adelphi, because I actually worked there for a while. I know sometimes Paul Jackson, the owner, he'll just buy in a load of 15, 16-inch pizzas from a local takeaway and bring them in the back room.
No, that's one way to do it. We did that in Oklahoma City recently, where there's kind of nothing around the venue. And, it's just like, let's just order a pizza. So we'll do that. But, if you're in a bigger city with options, then it's just everyone just gets their kind of their meal money and goes out. And then, those of us who do drink, we'll come back with a bottle of tequila or something. But, it's much more fair that way, too, because, then the guy who doesn't drink isn't his money isn't going towards somebody else's beer. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's good, and I like touring as an older person. You definitely know how to do it at this point, and know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah. So one more thing then, before I obviously managed to let you go. Could you possibly, in your own way, say 3 times? It's entirely your choice. You can do voices. You can do whatever you want. Just. Yep. Hi, my name is Dick Valentine, and you're listening to the Rock and Roll Eats podcast.
The Rock and Roll Eats?
Yeah.
Okay.
Podcast.
All right.
That'd be amazing.
Are we? You want to? Okay. So, hello, my name is Dick Valentine of Electric Six, and you're listening to the Rock and Roll Eats podcast.
Thank you.
That's one.
If you want to change it up and try a couple more, it'd be really fun to have them maybe intermittently over the next few episodes.
No, that's good. You can go ahead and loop that 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
You can loop it and and duplicate it. You can do a loop. Yeah, a dupe and a loop. Yeah. Well. Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited. Very excited.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to get out to America in the coming summer, so you never know. If I'm there, I might be able to drop you a line if I'm nearby and maybe buy you a beer.
I'm around, man. There's only 330 million of us, but I'll find you.
Well, thanks very much, man. I'll speak to you soon, hopefully.
Okay, yeah. Oh, who's going to be the new prime minister?
Oh, what is there? If there's an election happening, I didn't even know about it.
No, but I mean, I think they're just going to get rid of him or what? You know, I
Oh
think,
God, yeah. Oh man, yeah. No, so yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. If I'm totally honest, Boris, he's obviously he's in a lot of deep water at the minute, and everyone wants him to go. But I think if he goes, it'll probably end up being either Rishi Sunak or I've forgotten the lady's name, but it'll be an internal thing. Because the political system here is absolutely obviously very different. You probably know to
sure.
the US. It's not that three-tiered weird system with like the courts and the judicial, all that you guys have. Where here the politics is like it'll be an internal vote between the politicians and the people who are members of the Conservative Party. So realistically, only like 3% of the population will actually get to vote who is then in charge of the Conservative Party, and because they're still in power, that person will automatically be prime minister, despite the lack of votes. So I don't know.
Right. What about Frank Lampard?
That'd be a good shout. Why
everyone loves him.
Why Frank? Why? Does everyone love him in America?
Yeah, we do here. We just love him. We absolutely love him.
Frank Lampard, right?
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll try and lobby for that somehow.
Okay.
We'll try and get Frank Lampard for prime minister.
Yeah, he looks like the guy from Muse. That's why I love him.
Right. Fair. Yeah. What, Matt Bellamy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair. No,
have you ever seen them in the same room?
No.
Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? All right. All right. Well, thank you. God save the Queen.
Thank you. Yeah. God save the President of the United States of America.
Bye-bye.
Bye.